Hi, I'm Leo Sheng, and you're watching Character Media. I got started in acting when I was 21. A casting director associate messaged me on Instagram that they were looking for trans actors to play a trans character in an upcoming indie film. It's called Adam, and it came out in 2019. And Adam went to Sundance, and that's where I met my previous manager. And she gave me her card. 2 or 3 months later, I reached out to her and asked her if I needed a manager. And like a week after we called, she sent me the breakdown for the L word for Micah. So I auditioned, and about a week later, I found out I got the part. So the L Word Generation Q we're calling it a sequel to the original L Word, which aired in the early to mid 2000s. And it was a show that focused on lesbian women, queer women in Los Angeles. Relationships and family and work, navigating being out or being outed. And our sequel picks up with some of the original cast members, and we pick up on where they are now in their lives. There's a few new faces. We call it Generation Q because I think we're expanding on like what it means to be a queer person. And it's just kind of a look at contemporary queer life in LA now. So the original did have a trans man character, Max, played by Daniela C. It's been very controversial, the character of Max, not only like in the writing, but also how the other characters treated him. So this version, we do want to address the ways in which Max felt hurtful or harmful to trans men, trans masculine communities through like this new representation of Micah. I'm a trans guy playing a trans guy. We have so many similar experiences, and so it's nice to see some of that reflected in the storytelling and showing that trans men are men. How do we like bridge these communities in a way that's not exclusionary, but also holding space for the many experiences that do exist? Micah is one of the newer characters introduced for this new iteration of the L Word. He is a Chinese American trans guy. First season, we don't really see much of him through his job. In the second season, we get to see that he works with trans youth. We get to see him learn to open up and like let himself feel attraction and create friendships and create like a chosen family. If we get a season 3, which as of right now we don't know, we're hoping. I would love to see more of Micah's growth in his identity, and also outside of his like trans identity, like what is it like to be a Chinese American queer person in LA right now. And I would love to see him with more like Asian queer folks in his circle, and having a little bit more fun maybe. I came out when I was 12. I got socially transitioned when I was 12. That was kind of like the height of like this YouTube generation of trans men, which I feel like for those who were there like know about it. But it was predominantly like white trans men, and so like I could relate to their experiences, and I could listen to them and like feel joy for them and their journeys, but I didn't feel like I couldn't relate in more kind of like innate sense. When I started sharing my story on Instagram, I was like 15 and I didn't really think much about it, and I was realizing there are a lot of like trans men of color in this space, and I saw that there was a real sense of community there that didn't really exist for me on YouTube. Over the years, my platform has just kind of grown to be both an expression of my own transition, my own experiences as like a queer person, as an adoptee, as a Chinese American person. On some level, I know that that's a resource. Like I know that people are seeing this and they're asking me like how to be there for their like the trans men in their life. Like maybe their sons are coming out, maybe their brothers or their friends, and it feels important to be honest and open about myself in a way that like I needed when I was 12 and 13 and younger. One of the things I've learned is that there's no like before and after. Like there's many of us online who will post like photos of ourselves before we started make like our medical transition or when we were kids and like where we are now, but those aren't like before and after because it implies an endpoint. It's your life. You have to be able to like be honest and like trust yourself that whatever you're feeling and wanting to kind of lean into and maybe learn more about is okay to take your time. So I would just say don't rush things. You're allowed to take up space and not know. I am on Twitter and Instagram. My username is Leo Sheng. You can watch the L Word Generation Q on Showtime, and that's about it.